Hey there. In this video, we will talk about null values in Apex programming. It's a tiny but important concept that every developer should be familiar with. Essentially, a null value is like an empty container. It doesn't contain any value or data. When you create a variable but don't give it a value, it uses null as a default value. Think of it as an empty box waiting to be filled. You can also intentionally set a variable to a null value by using the keyword null. This is helpful when you want to indicate that a variable is empty. Let's talk about how to work with null values in Apex programming. Well, you need to check for them using the if statement. This lets you see if a variable is empty or not. You can also use the if-else statement to handle null values in a specific way. Let's say you want to check if a variable is null and then do something based on that. You could use this code. Basically, it first checks if the variable is null. If this condition evaluates to true, we then do this, else we do that. When working with objects or collections, null values can throw a null pointer exception error. To handle this, you can use the try-catch statement. It's like a safety net that catches errors and lets you handle them gracefully. It is important to understand that without try-catch or null value checks, your code might stop working halfway, and you could then have to rely on debug logs to find the error line. Now there's one more thing we should mention when it comes to null values in Apex programming: the safety navigation operator. It's a handy feature that lets you access properties or methods of an object without worrying about the null values. Here's an example. Let's say you have a variable that stores a single account from a SQL query. The query is looking for an account that is Tony Stark. However, we are unsure of the account's existence. And because if there is no account for Tony Stark, the variable will result in a null value. Next, you might want to access one of its property called identity. Normally, you might write code like this. But with the safe navigation operator, you can simplify this to one line of code. The question mark in the code is the safe navigation operator. It checks if the account is null before trying to access identity. If the account is null, it simply returns a null value without throwing an exception. This can make your code much cleaner and more concise, while also preventing errors from null values. All in all, null values are important to know in Apex programming. They help you represent empty or unknown values and handle them properly in your code. By learning how to work with null values, you'll be able to write more reliable and robust Apex code. This has been Null Values in Apex. If you found this video helpful, please do like and subscribe. Until next time, be safe and take care. Peace.